Special forces deal a blow to ISIS. U.S. commandos carry out a daring ground raid against the Islamic State in eastern Syria, killing a senior ISIS commander and capturing his wife, who the Pentagon says could be a good intelligence source. Joining us now for more on that and the death of Abu Sayyaf and what it means against the war against ISIS is the author of The Lost Spring, U.S. Policy in the Middle East and Catastrophes to Avoid, as well as a Fox News Middle East analyst, Waleed Phares. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you bringing your intelligence. What can you tell us more? He wasn't necessarily a household name before, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't incredibly important.
He was important. First of all, because he's a high-ranking official of ISIS in Syria. He was in charge of an important economic outlet, the oil fields, that is very important for ISIS. But it seems that his wife is as important, and the information that both of them had, now captured, assumably by U.S. Special Forces, is what is the most important. So the information probably is more important than both of them.
Yeah, because at first you hear he has been killed, and we have her. And I didn't know, is she going to be an important source of information going forward? How much is she going to know? Well,
from the design of the operation, you could feel already, it needs to be confirmed, of course, by authorities, that it has been meticulously planned. It has been executed in a very amazing way. No casualties. The person extracted, he has been killed, of course, because he was targeted for such a goal. But now the information is with her, according to what we heard right now, and or with in laptops. We don't know. This is what we don't know. But what we assume that it is, it's about information intelligence about the organization.
Okay, going forward, what type of impact does this have? Perhaps it's an obvious question. On ISIS, on the terror organization. Is this crippling? Is this not going to deter them from carrying out terrorist acts? What about going forward?
It's in between. It's not going to be crippling. We're not going to see ISIS collapsing. ISIS actually is making advances. It's approaching an important city in Syria. It has captured part of an important city in Iraq. So it is moving on the ground. But it is going to deter ISIS from the same deployment that they had before. They're going to be afraid. You know, now they don't have those long caravans because of our air raids. And now, most likely, they're going to learn from this operation so that the other commanders of ISIS won't be that obviously in charge and obviously known that they are the commanders of these interests.
Yeah, did this surprise you the way that it was carried out? I mean, in the hearing that we've conducted, drone operations and strikes is not something necessarily that we wake up and it's breaking news. It's something that's become more commonplace. But now that we're seeing boots on the ground, this is fairly unusual.
These are very hesitant boots on the ground. This is a very exceptional situation. I don't think that this is going to lead to a full-fledged invasion of ISIS or a mass presence in Syria, because the policy of the administration is no boots on the ground, at least in Syria. But my question is that this is a very successful tactical operation. Are we changing our strategy with regard to ISIS? Are we arming the minorities? Are we doing more of the big things that would actually cripple ISIS? This is a successful tactical operation, but this does not indicate that we are changing strategy with regard to ISIS so far.
Successful but very risky?
It is very risky, but we have the best professionals in the world. I mean, I am amazed by the way this was conducted, just because we don't have troops on the ground in Syria. We don't have bases, unlike in Iraq. So success tactically, risky of course, but we have no indications that the general policy with regard to ISIS in Syria and Iraq has changed.
There was a Yazidi woman who was reportedly a slave to this couple. Obviously, details are still coming out. What type of message does that send symbolically?
It actually sends two messages. Number one, a message of hope that now we are, trying to liberate those elements. But also, I would be concerned about the fate of other women. If we don't conduct a mass operation to free these women, and we know most of them where they are, this would be a warning for the captors in other places to hide them away from us.
Excellent. So you're pleased with today's news? You thought it was a step forward symbolically?
Only if it's the beginning of an operation. If it's an orphan operation, then I would be concerned. But if it's the beginning of a new direction, then that would be a good operation.
Okay. Waleed Phares, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.